Ladies, let me tell you something about confidence. It's powerful. When you walk into a room, when you step into any situation, the energy you carry says more than words ever could. Confidence isn't something that's reserved for a specific type of person. It's something every one of you can tap into. It's the way you hold yourself, the way you speak, the way you carry that inner belief that you are worthy, that you are enough. And here's the thing, confidence is magnetic. It draws people in. It makes them want to know more about you, want to be around you. And in the case of someone you love or desire, it can make them want to commit to you. But let me be clear, confidence isn't about perfection. It's not about having everything figured out or being flawless in every way. No, confidence is about knowing who you are and being comfortable with it. It's about accepting your flaws as part of your story and standing strong in the truth of who you are, whether anyone else recognizes it or not. When you feel good in your own skin, when you walk through life knowing your value, that energy becomes undeniable. The people around you can feel it, and that's what makes you stand out. Now, don't confuse confidence with arrogance. Arrogance is putting others down to lift yourself up. Confidence is standing in your own light without needing to diminish anyone else. It's understanding that your worth doesn't come from validation from outside sources. It comes from within. And when you carry that, when you truly believe you are enough just as you are, people will see it. They'll respect it. They'll gravitate toward it. When you're confident, creates a sense of mystery. You don't feel the need to over-explain, to prove yourself to anyone. You don't feel compelled to share every single detail of your life to make others understand your worth. You carry yourself with a quiet assurance that speaks louder than anything you could say. And here's the secret, ladies. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you choose to step into every single day. You don't wait for the world to validate you. You start by validating yourself first. You wake up in the morning and choose to love and believe in who you are, just as you are. That energy will reverberate through everything you do. So, how does confidence connect to your relationship, especially in the context of one day hearing those words, "Will you marry me?" Here's how. When you're confident, you stop seeking external approval or validation from your partner. You stop looking for constant reassurance that you're doing things right. You start to lead with your authentic self, and that is what truly attracts someone. When he sees that you're not dependent on his approval for your happiness, it shifts something in him. He starts to admire you not just for your looks or your kindness, but for your strength and your ability to stand on your own 2 feet. And make no mistake, he will be drawn to that strength. A man who sees a woman comfortable in her own skin will respect her more deeply. He'll be captivated by the way you navigate the world. He won't just see you as someone to have fun with or someone to lean on when times are tough. No, he'll see you as someone he can build a future with, because you've shown him that you can build your own future with or without him. That level of self-assuredness, that kind of inner strength is what makes him want to walk alongside you in life, not just be a spectator. But I also need to tell you this, confidence isn't something you fake. It doesn't work like that. It's not about pretending to have it all together or acting like you've got it all figured out. It's about embracing the journey, accepting that you'll have your good days and bad, but that you'll keep moving forward regardless. And the beauty of it is that when you show up as your most authentic self, flaws and all, you create a space for others to do the same. You give him permission to be his real self too, without the fear of judgment or expectation. When you lead with that kind of strength, that quiet, unshakable confidence, it becomes clear that you're not just looking for a man to complete you or make you whole. And when he realizes that, when he sees that you're not dependent on him for your sense of self, it's an invitation for him to step up, to meet you where you are, and maybe even to realize that you're the one he's been waiting for. Confidence, ladies, is your power. It's the one thing that doesn't come from external sources. It's something that starts from deep within you. When you own it, when you radiate that self-assurance, he will see you not just as someone he likes, but as someone he can't live without. And when that happens, trust me, he will beg to marry you. Now, let's talk about understanding him. Truly understanding what he needs, what he desires, and more importantly, what he might not even say out loud. Every person, especially in relationships, carries with them a set of unspoken needs, desires, and hopes. Sometimes they're clear as day, but most times they're hidden beneath the surface, wrapped up in layers of fear, past experiences, and what he believes he deserves or doesn't deserve. And here's the truth. When you take the time to understand those needs, those quiet, sometimes even vulnerable desires, it changes everything. Not just for you, but for the entire relationship. Look, every man, just like every woman, wants to feel understood, but it's deeper than that. He wants to feel seen, heard, and valued for who he is. Not for who you want him to be, not for what you hope he'll become, but for the man that he is at his core. And when you have the ability to connect with him on that level, to see past his tough exterior, to hear what he's really saying, even when his words don't match his feelings, something incredible happens. He feels safe with you. He feels accepted. And ultimately, he feels loved in a way that most people never experience. I want you to think for a second about what happens when you truly listen to someone, not just hear them, but really listen. There's a world of difference. Listening isn't just about letting him talk while you wait for your turn to speak. It's about tuning into his emotions, reading between the lines of what he says, and being present in the moment with him. That's when you start to understand the real man. And let me tell you, when a man feels understood, there's no greater gift you could give him. You see, most men, just like most women, carry around a lot of baggage, things they don't share openly, and sometimes things they're not even fully aware of. But when you take the time to listen, when you give him that space to express himself without judgment, without trying to fix things immediately, it opens a door to something deeper. And let's be clear, understanding him doesn't mean you have to agree with everything he thinks or does. No, understanding is about acknowledging his point of view, respecting it, even if it's different from your own. It's about recognizing the value in what he brings to the table and validating his feelings. And when you do that, when you create that space for him to be exactly who he is, it brings a level of peace to the relationship. It builds trust because he knows that you're not just there for the good times or the easy days, you're there for the tough moments too. You're there when things aren't perfect, when he's struggling with his own challenges, when he doesn't have all the answers. And he's going to appreciate that more than you know. Now, here's something important I want you to realize. You have to also understand that sometimes a man's needs aren't verbalized at all. Sometimes it's in the way he looks at you, the way he touches you, or even in the silence. You have to be in tune with those little things, the small gestures that speak volumes. Maybe he doesn't tell you he's feeling stressed at work, but you can tell by the way he carries himself, the weight in his shoulders. Maybe he doesn't express how much he needs reassurance, but the way he looks at you when you offer words of encouragement says everything. Understanding those nuances, those subtleties, can be just as powerful as hearing him say what's on his mind. And listen, don't ever underestimate the importance of showing him support. We're all human and we all have insecurities. The difference is that when you take the time to encourage him, when you believe in him even when he doesn't believe in himself, you become his foundation. And that's a powerful thing. It's about saying, I see you and I believe in you. It's about being his cheerleader when the world is trying to tell him to give up or when he feels like he's failing. And trust me, when a man feels like someone has his back, He's more likely to rise up to the occasion, to push himself harder, to do the things he might not have thought possible. That's the kind of support that transforms a relationship, that strengthens it, and ultimately that makes him want to step up and commit to you. The beauty of understanding him is that it creates a sense of security, not just emotionally, but also in the relationship itself. When he knows that you get him, truly get him, he's not looking over his shoulder wondering if someone else can meet his needs better than you. He's not questioning whether there's someone out there who's going to understand him more deeply. He knows you're the one. He knows you're the person he can rely on, the person who's going to accept him, even when he doesn't have it all figured out, even when he's unsure of himself. And that's when he begins to see you as not just a partner, but as the person he can't imagine his life without. So ladies, remember this. When you understand him on that deep, authentic level, when you make the effort to connect with him beyond just surface conversations, you become irreplaceable. You become the person he knows he needs, the one who can give him the emotional safety, the reassurance, and the love that he may not even realize he was craving. And once he realizes that, once he sees how deeply you get him, that's when the magic happens. That's when he'll realize he never wants to lose you. Now, let's talk about something crucial: independence. It's often underestimated in relationships, but let me tell you, it's one of the most attractive qualities you can have. When I say independence, I'm not just talking about the ability to take care of yourself financially or to make decisions on your own. It goes beyond that. It's about having your own life, your own passions, your own dreams that are separate from him. And that's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. You see, many people get into relationships and somewhere along the way lose a part of themselves. They start to rely too heavily on the other person for their happiness, their identity, even their sense of worth. And that's where things go wrong. Because when you lose yourself in a relationship, you don't just lose yourself, you also lose the respect and admiration of the person you're with. I want you to understand something. A man doesn't want to feel like your whole world revolves around him. It's not that he doesn't want to be important to you, he does, but he also wants to know that you've got your own thing going on, that you have a life outside of him, and that your happiness doesn't solely rest on his shoulders. When you're independent, you bring something into the relationship that's powerful. You're not leaning on him to fill every gap in your life. You've already filled your own cup. And here's the kicker. When you're whole as an individual, when you can stand on your own 2 feet without needing constant validation from him, it makes the relationship so much stronger. There's no pressure. You're not waiting for him to complete you because you're already complete. And when 2 people come together as whole individuals instead of 2 halves trying to become one, that's when the magic happens. That's when you're free to love without fear of losing yourself, without the anxiety of needing to be everything for the other person. Now, let me clarify something. Being independent doesn't mean being emotionally distant or detached. It doesn't mean shutting him out or not sharing your vulnerabilities. It means that you have your own sense of self, your own sense of purpose, and that you're capable of navigating life on your own. But at the same time, you're choosing to share your life with him. You're choosing to be with him because he adds value to your world, not because you need him to fill a void. Think about it for a moment. When you're independent, you bring a certain energy into the relationship. You're not constantly asking for reassurance, constantly looking to him for approval. You're not afraid to be yourself, even if it means you have a different opinion, a different way of doing things. And that's something he'll admire. It's something that builds respect. And let me tell you, respect is one of the cornerstones of a successful, long-lasting relationship. When a man respects you for who you are, for your ability to stand on your own, he's going to want to be there. He's going to want to support you, And he's going to see you as someone he can build with, someone he can rely on. Not because he has to, but because you've shown him that you can stand tall with or without him. And that's something rare. But here's the thing. Independence also means taking ownership of your own happiness. Too many times I see people relying on their partner to be the source of all their joy. They depend on their partner to make them feel validated, to make them feel special. And while it's nice to get those things from your partner, it's a dangerous place to be if that's the only place you find them. Happiness, true happiness, comes from within. When you're emotionally and mentally independent, when you can enjoy your own company, when you're proud of who you are and what you've accomplished, you're not looking to him to fill that role. And guess what? He's going to notice that. He's going to see that you don't need him to complete you. You're already complete. And that, my friends, is what makes him want to commit to you, because he sees that you're not desperate for love. You're not desperate for his attention. You want it, of course, but you're not dependent on it to define who you are. You don't need him to be your source of validation. You've already got that in yourself. That independence gives you freedom in the relationship. It gives both of you the space to grow as individuals, and it keeps the spark alive because you're not smothering each other with the weight of unspoken expectations. When you lead with independence, you also lead with confidence. You make it clear that you're not asking for someone to complete you. You're looking for a partner, not a savior. And let me tell you, when you show up like that, when you bring that energy to the table, it shifts everything. It shifts the way he sees you, the way he respects you, and the way he views the future with you. And that's when he'll start to think, this is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. So remember, ladies, independence isn't just a nice to have. It's an essential quality that every successful relationship needs. When you own your life, your happiness, and your purpose, you make it clear that you are a force on your own. And that's when he'll realize you're not just someone he wants to date, you're the woman he'll want to marry. Now let's talk about something powerful in a relationship: support. It's often the little things, the quiet acts of encouragement, that can make the biggest impact. You see, a lot of people think that relationships are about grand gestures, about big moments of romance and fireworks. And while those moments are nice, it's the day-to-day, the consistent, subtle acts of support that truly make someone feel like they are seen, appreciated, and loved. It's in the moments when he's at his lowest, when he feels like he's failing, and you step in, offering him a word of reassurance, a gentle nudge that says, I believe in you. That's when the magic happens. Now, I'm not talking about doing everything for him or always stepping in to save the day. No. Support doesn't mean you take on the weight of the world for him, but it means that you're there with him, beside him, even when things aren't perfect. You show him that no matter what happens, you got his back. You're in this together through thick and thin, and he's never going to have to face life's challenges alone. That kind of partnership is rare, and that's exactly the kind of bond that keeps a man wanting more. When he feels your support, it creates a deep sense of security. He knows that you're not just here for the good times, not just here when everything's easy. You're here for the struggles too, for the tough days. And that means everything. The reality is, no one has it all figured out. We all face struggles, both big and small. A man, just like any other person, needs someone who can lift him up when the world feels heavy. And I'm not saying that you should carry the burden for him or solve all his problems. What I am saying is that your encouragement, your belief in him, can be the thing that pushes him forward. Sometimes all it takes is a word of affirmation, a reminder that he's capable, that he's strong, and that you believe in his ability to overcome whatever challenges are in front of him. It doesn't have to be dramatic. A simple "I've got you" can mean more than any grand speech. The truth is, many of us, men included, doubt ourselves. We have insecurities that we may not always show, and we face moments when we question whether we're enough. But when we have someone in our corner, someone who sees the best in us, even when we can't see it in ourselves, it makes a world of difference. Imagine what that feels like, to have someone who truly believes in you, who stands by your side, and who, when you're ready to give up, is there to remind you of the strength you've got inside of you. That's the kind of support that makes him want to commit to you. He's going to look at you and think, this is the person who truly gets me. This is the person who sees my potential even when I can't see it myself. But support isn't just about words. It's about action too. It's about showing up day in and day out, being there when he needs you most. It's about sharing his victories, celebrating his achievements, but also about standing with him when things don't go the way he hoped. Sometimes we don't need someone to fix things. We just need someone to be there, to listen, and to remind us that it's okay to fail as long as we keep trying. There's strength in showing vulnerability, in admitting that things aren't always perfect, but knowing that we're not facing them alone. That's what makes a partnership solid. When he knows that you're not just there for him when everything's going great, but when things are messy, uncertain, or difficult, that's when he starts to realize that you're the one. And here's the beauty of it. When you offer support in this way, it's not just about him. It's about the relationship as a whole. You build trust, you create a deeper connection because you're not just sharing the good times, you're sharing the journey together, the highs and the lows. That's when real intimacy happens. That's when the bond between two people strengthens to the point where it's unshakable. And as that trust deepens, so does the respect. He sees that you're not just there for his highs, you're with him through his lows too. You've shown him that you're a safe place for him to be real, to be vulnerable, and that's what makes him want to hold on to you, to keep you in his life for the long haul. But remember, support doesn't mean you have to take on the weight of the world. It's not about fixing every problem he has or being everything he needs. It's about being the steady, reliable presence that he can turn to when he's feeling uncertain. It's about knowing when to offer a listening ear, when to offer advice, and when to simply hold space for him to figure things out on his own. Your support will make him feel stronger, more capable, and more secure in himself. And that's exactly the kind of foundation a relationship needs. So when you show him this level of support, when you lift him up and stand by him no matter what, it becomes clear to him he's never going to find this with anyone else. He's never going to feel as secure, as understood, or as cared for as he does with you. And that, my friends, is when he starts to think about the future. That's when he starts to imagine a life with you, a life where he knows you'll always have his back, just as he'll have yours. And when he sees that, when he feels that, that's when he'll want to make you his forever. Let's talk about trust. Trust is everything in a relationship. It's the foundation. Without trust, you don't have a relationship. You've just got two people in the same space going through the motions, but not really connecting. You can't build anything real or lasting on uncertainty, on doubt, on wondering whether the other person's intentions are true. And when it comes to love, when it comes to building a life with someone, that trust is non-negotiable. It's the bedrock that holds everything else up. But trust doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's earned, built over time, and nurtured with care and consistency. You can't expect someone to trust you overnight, especially if you haven't shown that you're worthy of it. Trust isn't about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about showing that you can be relied on, that you're steady, that you can be counted on when things get tough. It's about being real with each other, being vulnerable, and showing up for one another in ways that make it clear, without a shadow of a doubt, that you have each other's backs. When it comes to earning trust, it starts with being honest. I'm not just talking about the big things, the major issues that could make or break a relationship. I'm talking about the small, everyday moments, It's about showing up when you say you will. It's about following through on your promises, no matter how big or small, because every time you do what you say you're going to do, you're proving that you can be trusted. And when he sees that, when he starts to understand that you are someone who honors your word, who stands by your actions, it builds a sense of security in the relationship. That's the beginning of trust. But let me tell you, trust goes deeper than just the surface level. It's not just about being reliable, it's about being open, being vulnerable, and showing him that you're not hiding anything. It's about being transparent, letting him see the real you and giving him the space to do the same. When you're willing to be honest about your fears, your insecurities, your past, you invite him to do the same. And when he sees you willing to open up like that, to show him the parts of you that might be tough to reveal, it creates a deeper connection. It allows him to trust you on a level that goes beyond just actions. It's about trusting your heart, trusting your intentions, and knowing that you're in this together. One of the biggest killers of trust in a relationship is dishonesty. It's not always the big lies that cause the most damage, though. It's the little things, the small, seemingly insignificant secrets that can start to erode the foundation. And once trust begins to crack, it's hard to rebuild. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a real commitment to making things right. But here's the thing, trust isn't something that can be demanded, it's something that must be earned. You can't tell someone to trust you, you have to show them day in and day out through your actions that you're someone who deserves their trust. And here's where the real magic happens. When trust is established, it frees you both. It takes the weight of insecurity and doubt off the table. There's no need for second guessing. There's no need for wondering if you're truly being heard, truly being understood, because when trust is strong, you know that no matter what happens, you're in it together. You can be vulnerable, you can be real, and you can speak your truth without fear of judgment or betrayal. And that's what creates intimacy, the kind of intimacy that allows a relationship to grow and evolve into something real, something lasting. But trust isn't just about being honest with each other. It's also about giving each other the freedom to be themselves. When you trust someone, you give them the space to make their own choices, to have their own experiences, and to grow as an individual. You don't need to control or micromanage every aspect of their life. Instead, you show them that you trust them to make decisions, to follow their own path, and to be their own person, even within the context of the relationship. And when he feels that kind of freedom, when he feels that you trust him to be who he is, it only strengthens the bond between you. He knows that you're not trying to change him, that you accept him for who he is, flaws and all. That's a rare gift in a relationship, and it makes him want to give you the same level of trust in return. And here's the thing, trust isn't always going to be easy. There are going to be times when things get difficult. There are going to be moments when you're tested, when you might question each other, when the foundation feels a little shaky. But that's when you have to lean into it. That's when you have to be patient, consistent, and committed to proving that you're in this for the long haul. It's during those tough times that trust is either strengthened or broken. But if you both stay true to your words, stay true to the commitment you've made to each other, that trust will deepen. When you establish trust, when you show them that you're worthy of it, something powerful happens. You create a relationship that's grounded in reality, not in fear or insecurity. You create a partnership that's built to last because you both know that no matter what life throws your way, you can rely on each other. You can count on each other. And that, my friends, is when he realizes that you're not just someone to date. You're the one he wants to build a life with, the one he can see standing by his side through all of life's challenges. When trust is solid, there's nothing he won't want to do to make you his forever. Now, let's wrap this up with something that's often the most misunderstood part of a relationship: self-respect. It's easy to think that being in a relationship means sacrificing pieces of yourself, putting your needs second, and compromising to make things work. But that's not the truth. In fact, the most important thing you can do in any relationship is to hold on to your sense of self-respect. When you respect yourself, you create boundaries that protect your peace, your joy, and your values. And let me tell you, when you do that, when you show him that you know your worth, that's when he'll realize that you are the one. Self-respect is about knowing your value and not settling for anything less than you deserve. It's about understanding that you are worthy of love, respect, and the very best that life has to offer. When you know your worth, you won't allow anyone to treat you less than you deserve. You don't tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or being taken for granted. You set clear boundaries and you don't apologize for them. You don't let anyone push you into a space where you feel small or insignificant. You stand firm in who you are, and you expect others to respect that. When you carry yourself with this kind of self-respect, it's magnetic. It's the kind of energy that demands admiration and love. And it's the kind of energy that makes someone look at you and think, that's the woman I want by my side forever. You see, when you respect yourself, you don't settle for toxic relationships or situations that don't align with your values. You don't allow yourself to be in a relationship where you're constantly trying to fix someone else or where you're giving more than you're receiving. Self-respect means recognizing that you deserve a partner who sees your value, who appreciates you, and who treats you as an equal. And let me tell you, when a man sees you respecting yourself in that way, it makes him want to step up. He doesn't want to be the person who fails you. He doesn't want to be the one who treats you poorly because he knows you won't tolerate it. And he knows that if he doesn't respect you, he stands to lose you. That's a powerful position to be in, and it makes him want to do whatever it takes to earn your love, your trust, and your commitment. Self-respect also means knowing when to walk away. It means understanding that no matter how much you may care for someone, if they're not treating you the way you deserve to be treated, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to say, this isn't working for me, I deserve more. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to choose yourself over anything that doesn't serve you, that's when you command the respect of the person you're with. When a man sees you have the strength to walk away from a situation that isn't right, it makes him realize that you're not going to settle. You're not going to let anyone take advantage of your love or your kindness. And that's when he starts to see you in a whole new light. He starts to think, this is the woman who knows her worth. This is the woman I don't want to lose. But self-respect isn't just about walking away when things go wrong. It's also about standing up for yourself in the day-to-day moments. It's about speaking your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about having the courage to express your needs, your wants, and your boundaries clearly and respectfully. When you do this, you show him that you value your own voice, that you're not afraid to stand up for what matters to you. And when you do that, he's going to respect you more. He's going to see you as someone who's strong, confident, and unapologetically herself. And that's exactly the kind of woman a man will want to commit to. But here's the thing. Self-respect doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean you have to be flawless or have it all together. In fact, part of respecting yourself is accepting your own imperfections. Knowing that you don't have to be anyone but yourself. It's about being okay with your flaws, your mistakes, and your growth process. It's about not needing anyone to complete you because you're already whole. When you carry that energy, when you walk into a room knowing that you are enough just as you are, it's impossible for anyone to take you for granted. You set the tone for how you want to be treated, and if someone doesn't meet those standards, you're ready to move on. And when a man sees that kind of self-respect in you, it makes him want to step up his game. He knows that if he's going to be in your life, he's got to match your level of self-awareness, of growth, and of respect. He knows he can't treat you like an option. He knows he's got to treat you like a priority. And that's when he starts to realize that you're not just someone to date, you're someone to marry. Because when a man sees that you respect yourself enough to demand the same respect from him, it triggers something powerful. He knows that if he doesn't give you what you deserve, he risks losing you forever. So remember, ladies, self-respect is not negotiable. It's the foundation of every successful relationship. When you respect yourself, you make it clear that you're not settling for anything less than a love that uplifts you, supports you, and treats you like the incredible person you are. And that's exactly when he'll realize that you are the woman he will want to spend the rest of his life with.